Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. It's time now for a look at what's making the international newspapers this Friday with our press reviewer Olivia Salazar-Winspear, who joins me now. Hello, Olivia. So we're going to start off with Syria, where there has been once more no diplomatic progress, but still it's making the front page of a lot of papers.
Yeah, the situation in Syria, and notably in the second city, Aleppo, is really dominating the headlines internationally. Le Monde here in France has given over the whole front page to it. They're actually pushing an interview that they have with Ayman Abdel-Nour. Now, he lives in exile now, but he's a former member of the Ba'ath Party in Syria, and he says that in this interview that Assad's ready to destroy Damascus to save his own skin, which is, pretty dramatic. However, the other international papers are already looking beyond that towards a post-Assad future. The British paper, The Independent, has an article about the former golden boy of the regime, Brigadier General Manaf Glas. Now, apparently they name him as the one-time childhood friend of Bashar al-Assad. He defected from the regime, from his high military position 3 weeks ago. He's definitely part of the inner circle. His father was a defence minister under Hafez al-Assad, Bashar al-Assad's father, for 30 years. He's no stranger to the circles of power in Damascus. He's now tipped to take over the reins of the country. Now, the Wall Street Journal were also echoing this in the States. They go even further, saying that the Obama administration is actually in talks with Western powers and other Arab states to see how they can actually get Glas into power as soon as possible. They underline the fact that the Syrian National Council, which is, of course, the opposition group that we've been most used to seeing, is looking less realistic right now as a legitimate possibility for the future of Syria, because it's fragmented and Western organisations are increasingly shifting their support elsewhere. The thing about this guy is that they say what's needed is someone who can appeal to Russia, who can appeal to key regional allies, as well as to the opposition. And what's worth noting is that he's a Sunni Muslim, which really matches up with Saudi Arabia in the region, and they're backing the rebellion right now. That's important, and most of the rebels are, of course, Sunni Muslims too. He appeared on Saudi Arabian television recently, emphasising his criticism of the regime, naming it criminal and outlining his hopes for the future in Syria. Of course, he has his critics. Some people within the opposition say that just bringing in a white knight nominated by Western powers is not going to be the solution to the crisis. It's too simple. And some go as far as saying, one dissident said that he's too linked to the inner circle in Damascus, to the former regime, and that the opposition within the country would never shake a hand stained with so much blood.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very interesting story there that will run and run. Moving on to the Olympic Games, which of course is the big story for this Friday. The US presidential candidate Mitt Romney is in the UK. He's just one of thousands of tourists at the Games today.
Yes, maybe he is going to see his horse compete in the dressage, but it's a state visit, it's an official visit. He was meeting members of the British government and also members of MI6, the chief of MI6, in fact, the British intelligence services. Now, this is extremely rare for the agency to share intelligence with a leader of the opposition. Now, he's not an elected head of state. The article suggests that he was briefed with regards to the situation in Syria and a potential supporting role for Britain if they were to intervene in Syria eventually, which the British authorities have played down, even though this is quite a important announcement. They played this down, saying it's normal that he's briefed, but it does show that the special relationship is very much there. Now, if we move on to how his visit was covered in the tabloid press, they've been concentrating on the gaffes. Of course, he's made a couple of gaffes whilst he's been in Britain, and the tabloids have been having a field day. Specifically, the Daily Mail. They called it a car crash. They said he was worse than Sarah Palin. His major mistake, of course, was saying that the organisation of the Olympics was disconcerting, something he had to apologise for. David Cameron replied quite cattily, saying that it's easy to organise the Olympics in the middle of nowhere, but difficult in a city like London. Of course, he was making a reference to the Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City in 2002, which Mitt Romney organised. So let's hope his horse wins, at least.
That might make things a little bit better for him. Thank you very much indeed, Olivia, for that look at today's international papers. That's it from us here in the newsroom for now. Thanks for watching, and do stay with us here on France 24.